In the previous video, I talked about these menus across the top here in the Create Insight or Create Model environment in Insight Maker. In this video, I'd like to go ahead and talk about the menus that you actually use to create the model and manipulate it. Now, there's three basic types or three classes of models you can create in Insight Maker. Qualitative models, model which is just a picture of a set of relationships, and you can document those relationships, though it's essentially just a static picture. Continuous simulation models, where the elements, stocks and flows, have values and formulas associated with them so that you can simulate that model and understand how the relationships unfold over time and what the implications are. The third type being agent-based models, where the model is created with a bunch of agents which have properties and they evolve over time, so that when you simulate the model you can get a sense of how the relationships cause the population to evolve over time. Now, to create a model, you use a set of elements to do it. For qualitative models, you can use any of the primitives that you choose. All you really need are texts and a way to connect them together, though using symbols or images makes the model much more attractive to the audience. Though here are the three primitives that you use to create simulation models, 3 for agent-based models, and these are just ways to enhance the environment. And I'll talk about each of these in more detail when I talk about the particular types of models that they are used in. The ghost and primitive and folder are simply ways to work with the other elements in particular models, and I'll talk about those in detail. When you create individual elements, you connect them together using flows and links. Now, a flow is a type of connection that actually represents a material flow, and it can only connect to a stock, and it's typically used in a continuous simulation model. Links have a particular meaning in system dynamics models and agent-based models, though in qualitative models you can link anything to anything. And this, because of the way that the flows are set up, this is to cause the flow direction to change from one to another. When you create simulation models, this is the option that you use for time settings to set up how long it is, when it starts, how long it is, what the time units are, pause interval, and a type of algorithm that's used. I talked about save in the previous video, so that when you create a model, anytime you make a change to it, it's automatically saved. This is just a button to run the simulation once you're done. A set of typical Windows environment editing commands so that you can undo the last change, or you can cut, copy, and paste, and delete, find and replace, and zoom in and out. Oftentimes you build models that are bigger than what you can view on the screen all at once, and you want to zoom in to get a view of it. There are also a set of styling controls so that you can change the font color, the line color, the fill color, make text bold, italic, underlined. You can change the alignment and the order. And later in one of the qualitative videos, I'll talk about the picture primitive. Once you create a model, there are a number of ways that you may want to share it with other people. You may want to take the model and unfold it as a story, step by step by step. You can do that with the storytelling option. And also, once you create a story, you might want to convert that story to just a web page article, which is another option, and we'll cover that later, so that it takes the story, which is a step-by-step unfolding in the Insight Maker environment, and turns it into a standard web page so someone could read it just like they read any other article. And when you develop a model simulation, you can take it and you can embed it in some other environment, in a web page, in a wiki, in a blog post, just so people can access the model without actually having to go to Insight Maker. Tools are just a set of things to manipulate certain aspects of the model that aren't used too often. Scratchpad allows you to draw on a model, which is really useful doing presentations. You can import a model from in a couple of different formats. You can export a model. You can create a set of macros or variables that you use elsewhere in a simulation model. And you can also do sensitivity testing and optimization and goal seeking. And this takes you back to the home page itself, back to your list of your models that you've created. This is a help button to get to help. You can close this. This is called the control or the parameters bar. When you create variables, you'll see the various options for the variables over here. You can close that similar to the way I said that you can close the top bar up here. So this is the environment in which you create models. The primitives are deposited on that canvas by going here and selecting them. Once you select them, you can move them, resize them, rotate them as you wish. You can also create them by doing a right click on the canvas and simply selecting it, and it will create one wherever you happen to be at the moment. If you're doing stocks, you can add flows, and I said use this to change the direction of the flow. Links, if you click on the link, when you mouse over something, you'll see a little arrow pop up. You can use that to make a connection from one point to another. You can also select a link, hold down the shift key, and curve it any way that you feel you might need to. So those are mechanics that I'll talk about more when I talk about the development of actual models. But this is just sort of an introduction to what's in this environment to work with. Notice that over here on the right, now that I've selected an agent population, you see all the parameters for an agent population. Here's one for an action. Here are all of the parameters associated with a stock. Let me put, here are the parameters associated with the variable. So it's just, there's pretty much help on the environment about anything that you're interested in or working with. So here's a variable, and if I scroll to the bottom, here's a link to go learn more about variables. So just sort of an introduction to the environment. Hope you found it useful, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.